Hey.
There we go. I finally figured out how to get back into the chat there. 1 sec. The extension
Is
slash.
that good? What's that?
I said thanks for pushing this off for a week. And how are you?
Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty all right. Still trying to find a balance. I don't know. Like my work is not always like super satisfying, and when it's like not satisfying, then I always feel a bit lost in terms of what I'm trying to do. But I'm still putting a lot of energy into trying to learn Chinese. I'm taking like some classes, so that's been like distracting me a bit, which is kind of good.
That's awesome.
Played some video games last night. Played Helldivers too.
What's Helldivers too?
Just like it's a popular like online game right now. I guess it's like parties of 4. So I have a couple friends that we play on like Wednesday nights, and you basically just like you like pick your weapons and armor, and then you deploy from like a ship, and you do like maybe a 10 or 20-minute mission that mostly involves like shooting bugs or robots to take like certain checkpoints. Then you get like 4 different types of like in-game points or currency that you can then spend on like upgrades. And for whatever reason, the loop is pretty like grabby. Like, it's just fun it's fun the way they've got it like laid out. And since there's like 4 different currencies and stuff, it makes it confusing about like when you can buy what at what point and how long it's going to take. And so it's hard to like, it's hard to like calculate how much more fun the game is going to be. It sort of tricks you into like spending more time in it. But overall, it's got pretty fun. Like I got this like jetpack in one level, and it's a pretty weak jetpack. It just lets you like glide a bit. But still, it's pretty fun to like jump over rocks. I don't know why. They just balanced the game pretty well, I guess.
Sweet.
So what have you been up to?
Yeah, still pivoting to leave the military.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Consolidating what I have in Canada, closing on a house in Atlanta this Friday or next Friday. I think they're pushing it.
Are you gonna visit Atlanta ever?
No.
That's
No,
pretty
it's
cool
all
that
good.
you can do that whole process without ever physically being present.
Yeah, it's just have a property manager do it for me.
Huh.
Well, sorry, asset manager / realtor type, and then they line up the property manager for me.
Yeah.
And everything else. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
Huh. Is there anything in Atlanta that's interesting?
Nothing that comes to mind. Yeah, man.
Just a good market, I guess.
Well,
Yeah, I can't think of any. I've heard the name Atlanta. I know like Atlanta's popular for some reason. I don't know where
red
it is.
state, Sunbelt, no rent control,
Yeah.
no
Huh.
basements. At least where I'm at. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's lots of good stuff.
Hmm.
What
I guess you can
else?
see it look it up on Google Maps if you want to feel like you're there. Do Street View.
Yeah, I don't really like. I just don't care. I really don't. I just see it as a place to put some money and kind of balance things out a little bit, and hopefully over time, over 10 years, it grows into something. I mean, it's cool to
Yeah.
sit on cash if you have a good interest rate, but I mean, there's better money to be made than that. It's just I see it as putting it at risk.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of my friends like me and my friends, we all invest in like S&P 500, like the index fund. And then a couple of my friends, like they'll occasionally buy like more risky stocks, usually like tech stocks or something. But lately they've all been coming to the conclusion that you can't, like on like any stock is kind of just more risky than it's worthwhile. And it's hard to catch the ones that do go up significantly. So they've all kind of migrated back to just like putting money in an index fund, basically. And then I guess one of them owns a house, but everybody
Yeah,
else is like renting. Yeah.
yeah, that's the smart thing. Like what Buddy's doing there, or what they're all doing, which is the index fund.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're following like what's going
Yeah.
on. So like
Yeah. No,
marathon is an example of one that's like a roller coaster, and if you can figure out when it bottoms out and buy then it's there's a good chance that you're going to get a gain from that because crypto tends to go up and down, right? So it follows that usually.
Mm.
Usually. There was a period of time where I was a bit confused because Bitcoin was going up and Mara was going down. I was like, "The fuck is going on? This doesn't make any sense."
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of stuff in general. Not much of the economy is making sense these days.
Yeah. Well, like Bitcoin kind of stabled out and we climbed back up to 95. I don't know if I'm going to buy anymore. I was tempted to buy some, but
Yeah. I would say it's stuff is just not really worth like the time investment. I'm still always trying to like get back as much time as I can. Anytime I can like not do something and not be distracted by it and try to just like free up time. And then I don't even use time very efficiently, but it's nice to have like as much free time as possible just to theoretically make use of somehow.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you value time more than anything else.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's like you're still working. So, because you're still working, it's like you're still giving up like a third of your life for
Mhm.
money. So that's where it's like financial freedom can free up a third of your time. So if you can find that out, that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like I would expect that, like in a big way, the economy will switch to like 4-day work weeks at some point. And hopefully, like even vacation days would like increase on top of that, but maybe not for like 18 years from now. And we'll be basically like sort of exiting the workforce at that point. Hopefully, we'll be like this will be like the last generation or two that works like a 5-day, 8-hour day work day week.
Well, now that I'm free from the 9 to 5, I want all you people to work 9 to 5 because I don't want to see you
Mhm.
on the road. I don't want to see you in my favorite coffee shops. I don't want to deal with the traffic. So I'm not rich, but I imagine, rich people don't do the 9 to 5 as well. Like they work because they want to do something, but they have the freedom to do what they want. And if they have the ability to not have to deal with people throughout the week, I imagine that they're going to prefer 5 days of that versus four. And if they're the ones ultimately pulling the strings, I don't know. I'm skeptical. I
Mm.
don't think it's going to be a 4 hour work week. Work week.
But then it's weird that like those rich people own businesses and the businesses make money because everybody like shops at them. But if everybody's at work, they're not shopping or going to businesses. So I feel like if like for like the owner of the coffee shop or like the theme parks or the malls, I feel like they would want like an extra day of shoppers and like vacationers and like people
Yeah,
staying in hotels and stuff.
yeah, but people take vacation, right? Or they can get off work early or start later and still give them the business they need to survive, right? But it's just like if you had everybody have the day off, it's like a long weekend, and I hate long weekends. I used to like look forward to them. I dread them now. Like I need to start putting them in my calendar as like red caution. Don't go on the fucking road today. Get Costco shopping done a day before. Like I need to set reminders because yeah, long weekends are a fucking shit show, man. I don't like them.
Yeah.
And so like if everybody had a long weekend, everybody's gonna be out and about for 3 days instead of two. Eeh, no thanks. I mean, I'm sure it's something that like 9 to 5ers want, but not. I don't want to. I don't want to see people. He's like, I mean, I just my perspective is someone from it's the perspective of someone that's not doing the grind, man. So it's I'm kind of aligning with the not working crowd.
Hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah, it sounds like especially going to Costco, I don't go to Costco, but like I've heard that's the most intense, insane parking lot sort of experience that one can find is a Costco parking lot. And I would imagine, yeah, like on a long weekend, it would be exponentially worse. And I guess I don't know. I feel a lot of that is yeah, it turns out like the road infrastructure, which we've expanded to fill every available piece of real estate, is not enough to hold like the real amount of traffic. The only reason like sometimes there isn't traffic is because like everybody's occupied elsewhere. Uh, it would be nice if like I feel like we do need like a pivot to just like some more like a type of transit that can move more people faster like where they want to go without just like a bottleneck uh on like a freeway all the time.
Hmm.
Because that too is kind of like no matter how free we are, I feel like we're going to spend more and more of our lives like in a car waiting to get to somewhere when like it kind of is like wherever we're trying to go, if they just built like a city infrastructure so that we get to live next to where we want to be, then 100% of our time is spent just doing what we want instead of transit back and forth, which gets like slower and slower. And sometimes like there's no parking. You can't even go to wherever the destination is.
Yeah, that's not appealing to me.
Yeah, sometimes I was thinking sometimes like both sides of a street are like lined with cars and it kind of makes like a wall on both sides. And if you want to cross, you have to like wedge between two cars. And I was thinking if cars, especially if they were self-driving and everybody like lived in a car, and cars would be like twice as tall, like they'd be like all camper vans. And so you'd have like walls of camper vans lining every street. And then if they were self-driving and they had like wheels that could like turn 90 degrees so they could like parallel park like extremely close, you actually could have a future where like every street is lined with like bumper to bumper cars that are like twice as tall as current cars. And it essentially does make like a wall that is just impassable. Like you'd have to walk for like the entire block to get to a spot where you could get around the like this nonstop wall of cars.
Mm.
So I was
I'd
predicting I
climb.
was predicting that like that was the future.
I would climb over it, man.
Yeah, some camper vans have like a ladder. There'd be a lot of like yeah, one guy that I knew, he said that like he would go for a run and there'd be like a bunch of cars parked on the sidewalk and so he would just like start like running on top of them. And that's the future is like people just climbing over cars all the time with like car alarms going off as we like vault over like the hood of like a van.
Yeah, I'd like to see a future of less cars.
Mm.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
don't like
think
the
they could afford
model
it.
in
The what?
Singapore where it's like only the wealthy
Uh,
have the cars. Like it's a
or
privilege
yeah,
of
it's just
money.
super expensive. Yeah.
I don't like that because that's just again giving rich people what they want. But
I
like,
wonder about that. I wonder if that lets them, like, they must have, like, less car infrastructure, hopefully. Like, I know Singapore is, like, pretty walkable. Like, I guess if cars exist, then, like, as long as the priority is walking and biking, like, as long as cars don't get a priority, like, if only rich people are driving, hopefully driving wouldn't be, like, super convenient anyways, like, hopefully there'd be super small parking lots and, like, bridges over roads all the time. But it would be kinda
yeah,
bad, yeah, if roads still had priority and there was only a few drivers, that would be kinda bad.
yeah, I haven't been there personally, but I do like the idea of, like, there's less cars, less pollution,
Mhm.
but, ideally, just have it so that there's public transportation, and cars
Yeah.
are only for outside the city for going to countryside.
Yeah,
That's
I was
it.
thinking, like, if we made, like, super fast trains, it would be really cool if, like, the center of every city was, like, a massive train station, and then it would take, like, 25 minutes to get, like, from city to city, like, on, like, a bullet train, and it would just like, it would have no stops. It would just be, like, the center of one city to the center of another in, like, 20 minutes, and then you basically get out of the train, and you can sort of walk, like, there's, like, walking paths, biking paths, like, some kind of transit, like, lightweight transit, like, to get from the center of the city to, like, any of the peripheries. But that would be pretty neat to just, like, hop from city to city, like, 30 minutes per hop in these, like, very super fast trains. And then you realize, you're just in the center of this from the center of the city, you could get anywhere like within an hour. And maybe it would just be like half an hour of like nice walking by like parks and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, well, like, lifestyle is super important, and environment helps shape that, and that's you know, being with family is one important reason, but also just being in BC, being on the West Coast, I find that there's a lot more access to nature. I don't have to
Mm.
drive to get to the places I wanna go to. Can walk everywhere, literally everywhere, or
Yeah.
take a bike. Everything is close by, right? So,
Mhm.
like, I'm just thinking about selling my 4Runner 'cause, they probably won't out of province it. There's a bit of rust on it, and last time they tried to fuck me with rust. But if I can find a good mechanic, I'll just fucking drive that thing for 3 years. I've never get pulled over. So,
Mm.
whatever, man. Like, if it's I can be like, "Hey, man, I'm trying to find an out of province inspector who isn't trying to fuck me," and I can be honest. But, like, the foreigner, like, I'm only gonna use it sparingly. Like, the time I'm thinking I'm gonna use it is if I was gonna, like, pick people up from the airport and host them. Like, that's the main
Mm.
reason why I'd want the vehicle. Outside of that, man, everywhere else I can just walk. Like, I got Costco, it's like not even a 15-minute walk from my place.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's
So,
pretty
like,
nice,
block
like getting rid of a car, not having car as an option really makes it easier to choose. Like, you don't always have to like resist using the car. You can just kind of do whatever the most convenient option is given there's no car available, and then it's always like a decent option, or you just cut back, like you just don't do certain activities that promote like car use, and
yeah.
I think it leads to like a more peaceful like routine.
I do like the idea of, like, having an RV, but,
Mm.
like, a medium-sized one, not like the massive beasts, not the square ones either, like the 1970s version, where the bed's above the driving
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, there's like pretty cool like camper vans, like fairly small, like just white vans that have like a bed in the back, sometimes like a sink and storage in there too. And
It's a bit
it's just
too
like a
small.
van you can sleep. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
would
a bit too
always
small.
yeah, I wouldn't you can't really walk around inside or anything, but it would just be like you have access to a bed wherever you are, and then just do everything outside the van and sleep in it or something. Because that would at least cut out like hotel cost.
Yeah. I think what I'm thinking with the RV is you still have a kitchen, you got like an area to live. So you have that as an option. And you can go travel around and then like park it if you're like back in residential area, or if I'm back in the condo. Or if I want to Airbnb my condo out, which I'm not allowed to do, but I do anyway. Uh, I don't know. Condos, people don't want you to make money or be inconvenienced, but like, I'm not gonna pick some fucker who's gonna have a party here. Like, I do watch for that stuff, and I know I'm not able to discriminate based off of race because I can't see pictures. But I mean, I can tell if someone's Chinese because they're using fucking Mandarin characters, or they have Mandarin characters in their name, right? Like, the names are kind of a dead giveaway, like Abdullah or fucking like,
Well, how does
like
that like? But you think they're gonna throw parties or something? Like, why? What's the risk
different
there?
there's stereotypes, and the stereotypes exist for a
Mm.
reason. That's all I'm gonna say,
You
right? White people
think
are
about
super picky
belly things?
and finicky. Black people are very professional, or they'll fucking trash your place. I don't have a problem saying facts, so people can get offended, but it's a fact. The Indians are
Yeah,
really
I guess.
loud.
Is Vancouver Island like mostly like white rich people? I assume.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of
Like
Asians
maybe
there.
there's sort of.
I think there's a lot of Asian
Oh yeah,
investors there. Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm gonna keep. So that I find the Indians are very loud
Mm.
and like big mouth, but they're harmless. And then the Chinese tend to be very quiet and clean. They don't tend to cause any issues. They're like the best guests if they're not trying to scam you offline. It's like, hey, they're let's coordinate offline. I'm like, yeah, no scammer, fuck off.
Yeah, it's funny
Excuse
how
me.
it's sometimes it's like it's hard to disprove. Like it's just very easy to fall into like a thing where the stereotypes seem true, and it's hard to like convince ourselves otherwise. Even though like it's weird. Like it shouldn't be the case, but it's too real. Like sometimes, and then it's like do people who get stereotyped know that like by living the stereotype they're doing like a disservice to their whole like race, like by acting as we would expect them to, they reinforce our dangerous mindset that we'll like immediately stereotype their whole race uh
Well, we just gotta be
like I feel
mindful
like
that it's not
yeah
all or none. So it's just like a general. I find with
yeah
everything to do with people, there's like a palabra of like where people fit the general observation, and you always have outliers. So I should be careful when I generalize. Um,
mm,
but yeah, so I'm not saying like all Indians are going to be loud and partying. It's just that's the group that tends to do it. I'm not
yeah.
saying all blacks are gonna either be professional or trash your place, but that's most of them fall into that area, but you're gonna get some outliers, right? So if you want to limit risk,
Mm,
then you want to be able to discriminate and pick and choose, and Airbnb won't let you do that. Anyway, that aside, what I'm
yeah.
getting at is with Airbnbs, I mean, it's an opportunity to make some additional cash. And if you can just fuck off for a month, if you got someone who books your place for that, and they'll pay you
Oh yeah.
10 days, I can make $2,000. So like I can get 6K for a month. And that covers all my expenses, and then well, actually doubled my expenses. So basically 100% profit. And I
You can
go and I
rent
can
an
go,
RV too.
yeah, could do that. I could travel if I wanted to. And that's the great thing is just someone takes my place and it gives me the ability to change my scenery. I don't have to be stagnant. I gotta say, it's probably the best thing I've ever done. It's just I don't know how long I can keep going under the radar because I registered as a bread and breakfast, and I'm not a bed and breakfast, but I said I am because I'm serving breakfast that they have to make themselves. So I mean,
Right.
following the spirit of what they requested, I'm like, yeah, I'm bread and like they're staying here, and then they get breakfast. I'm providing that. It's in the listing. Am I registered as a B&B business? No, I'm not.
Oh,
So
is that like an Airbnb thing? Like if you list on Airbnb as that, you have to be like a business or something?
well, if you want to just like put your place out personally, you got to register with the city and jump through all these fucking loopholes. I just bypassed all that shit.
Mm. Yeah.
Probably illegal, but whatever. You know, I tried to do the right thing, and I was inquiring like what's the steps, and I got some guy who didn't give a shit about his job, and he's just like, here, do this antiquated process and fill out this Word document. Not even a PDF, a Word fucking document that he wanted me to print and then hand draw, we complete and sign and pay $200. So you want me to pay $200 and in order for me to go and pay you taxes? It's like, fuck you, city of Ottawa, you piece of shit. And I just said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm registering as a B&B and yeah.
Is B&B
I,
specifically like the fact that breakfast is offered, does that change something like business wise? Or is it the same as
I,
just renting
I
and
don't know. I don't know. And I'm just going to
okay.
claim ignorance when I get audited and claimed or whatever. Because like my income tax was when I calculate all my expenses for both my properties because of the variable interest rates being what they are and the interest that I
Mm,
paid, I was just like, I couldn't believe my fucking eyes, man. Like I barely paid anything principal last year, and the amount that I paid in interest, it's criminal. I don't know why they front end load it. It shouldn't be front end loaded.
mm,
It should be based off the amount that
yeah,
you're paying. Like, so if I have a loan and it's spread out over 30 years, like, why are you front end loading the interest on me? Because I'm gonna
yeah,
renew. Where you get to front end load the interest again? Like, how am I ever gonna pay down the principal if you continue to front end load the interest every time there's a renewal?
yeah. Especially on the like because there's like a foreclosure. Like if somebody can't pay, then the bank forecloses and like, force sells the house, and then sometimes they pay you back a bit, but like yeah, if they've front loaded the interest and they've already made their money and then they foreclose the house, then like the amount they pay you back, I would assume would only be like the non-interest payments, which would be smaller. It seems like
Right.
a system designed to just like kind of bet on foreclosing somebody and like taking their house and the money they've paid in.
Well, it's a system that's designed to make us continue to pay. We don't actually own our properties. So
Mm,
the state can come in and take them anytime. Real estate stands for the royal estate. So they'll get us with the interest in our mortgage, and even if we pay that off fully, we pay property taxes. So we will always
yeah.
pay. We never outright own these properties. So I don't know about Crown Land and how that
Mhm.
works, but yeah. Real estate, it's a bad deal, but it's one of the better deals out there. You
Mm,
don't actually own it. And someone can call the municipal and get you in trouble for not cutting your grass, and they can come in and fine you, and then they levy it against your income property tax, and if you don't pay your property tax, they can just repossess your home. Just fucking take your home.
yeah. There's a thing
So
called there's a thing called income tax. Like, it's like tax lien investing is what it's called, I think. And it's like you invest money, and the money like you basically invest in a fund, but what the fund does is it watches for people that like can't pay their income tax. And if they can't pay their income tax, then you like get to take their home, and that's how the fund like makes money. And so
property
then
tax.
yeah, like the form of yeah, maybe it's property tax or income tax, but it's like that's how that like if you're investing in like tax lien investing, you're sort of betting on the ability to like take people's homes away, which is kind of a pretty insane form of investment. Like you're hoping that people will like lose their homes for so you can
Yeah,
like have your stock go up.
you gotta be one red-blooded son of a
Yeah.
bitch to be investing in that stuff. I had the
Yeah.
offers. I got the information on it, and that son of a bitch keeps fucking sending me emails even though I unsubscribed, and they said, "Stop
Wow.
sending me your tax lien bullshit. I don't want to fuck people. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the system. So fuck you. Like I'm gonna make my money other ways. I'd rather fuck the
Yeah.
system and take from the system than take from the people who are being fucked by the system.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to turn down an offer every once in a while, like some shady offer. It's nice to have enough power to like resist going to the dark side almost.
Yeah, the trick is just not to spend your money. Not to save it either. It's to put it to work for you in a way that like is not risky, so you're not
Mm,
gonna lose it.
yeah.
Risking it is it's just not worth it. It's not worth the stress either. It is just a number, but I mean it's 2 times as difficult to make it than it is to lose it. If you lose 50%, it takes you 100% to make it back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you can easily lose 40%. But to get like or easy lose in that example, it's easy to lose 50%. I mean, I just had it happen with marathon. Fucking
Right.
crazy to see a 100% increase. So to make that back, it's insane. Like, I mean, I'm banking that marathon's gonna just skyrocket when Bitcoin does, but it's a
Mhm.
bet. No one
Yeah.
really knows the future, and
Mm.
it's all just placing bets on the company's future performance. And some people think they're okay. They bet on a really well-established company that pays dividends. I don't know if Nortel paid dividends and was well established, but I think they went under.
Yeah.
It was one of the companies around here, like they just folded.
Yeah, they were
Some
doing
people,
they were had a lot of, like, technological advances, and then, yeah, like, someone started warning them that, like, all their trade secrets are getting stolen, and they didn't really care, and then all their secrets did get stolen, and then they didn't have a competitive advantage anymore.
hmm, I'm gonna look at the history of that. I think there's something to be learned from that. Because if I'm gonna start
Yeah.
getting investing in dividend paying stocks, outside of so you get your registered accounts and max those out, and you go into non-registered. You want dividend paying stocks at the end of the day, well established companies. And so it's like, what makes a company established? Well, it's like there's a future, just current and future need for that company, and they're not going to go anywhere because
Mm.
that need's not going to get replaced. So Enbridge seems like a good bet, and larger, some of the banks
Yeah,
are a
that's what
good
I've
bet
heard.
too.
I've heard that, yeah, banks specifically pay large dividends and also can't really fail.
Yeah, they better pay fucking large dividends. They're robbing people. They make billions of dollars on overdraft.
That would be cool
Cocksuckers.
if all of our like, all money that is in our accounts at the bank would automatically pay, like, a dividend rate as if, like, all of our unused cash in our accounts would just automatically count as, like, stock for the bank and be paid like a dividend.
Yeah, or they actually paid us interest for
Yeah.
the cash that's in the account. Yeah. Well, Simple does, but
Mm.
yeah, I was like opening a US account because I'm going to transfer money to close on my place. And they're like, would you like the checking account or the savings account? I'm like, okay, just out of curiosity, what's the interest rate for the savings account? I was thinking like 2%. Guess what it was?
It's like zero point 0.5 or something.
Yeah, no, 0.05%.
Wow.
Not
Yeah,
even a
that's insane.
percent. Not yeah. Point
That's weird, yeah.
zero zero 0.05%.
Yeah, like, you'll lose, like, 4% a year just from inflation. Like, it's it's like, it's not
I
even
was like,
still
I
going
said to her,
down.
I said to her, that's a fucking insult. Like, I'm not mad at her. I'm sort of like half joking. I'm like, that's an insult. Why would you even show that to me? And then like the screen was turned to me too, and I'm just like pushed the screen back towards her. I'm like, I don't want to see that number. Like it's an insult. And then the poor girl who's in training, who doesn't know her ass from her head, is like, oh well, if you had a lot of money and she put it in there, that would make more sense. I'm like, no, sweetie. I'm like, no, it wouldn't make any sense. You want to put your big chunk of money in an interest, like an account with actual interest. That's what's going to grow, not the 0.0, not the 0.05%. Like how is that a savings
Yeah.
account? But that's the
It
banks.
is,
I
yeah, it's
mean,
weird that it's like it's borderline like scam. Like it's weird. Like if someone that was not a bank said like give me your money and I'll pay you like 0.005, like that they'd be like arrested later. But when the bank does it, it's like a legitimate business that like has employees and they
no,
actually think it's not a scam.
yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know anything about money, right?
Yeah.
The old me, before I learned about money. Oh wait, yeah, I know. I've accepted that uh, scenario for the last 34 years of my life, actually. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of money I could have made in life had I not spent so much time with just cash hanging out in like interest zero accounts.
yeah, well, you live, you learn.
Mhm.
I don't know how much cash you're sitting on right now, but you work for Microsoft, yeah? Or is
I
it
switched
Google?
to Google. Yeah, I switched to them. Yeah.
Sorry about the noise. I needed some blueberries. So yeah, living
Yeah,
in fucking
I'm like
San Francisco.
the thing about like when even when you're in the ideal case where like a lot of your money's in the S&P, like right now the S&P is like pretty high. So it's kind of like it's troubling to know that like at some point in the future the S&P will most likely go down like 40% for a while, and it's
No,
going to feel like I
not
mean
that much.
it'll go there like just for a little bit probably, like it'll go
No,
like 20% down, 30, like there'll be some kind
20,
of recession, I think. Yeah,
20.
maybe 20. Even then
Fucking
that would feel like
40%. Forty
yeah.
percent's me a fucking no. Not S
It's
and
sort
P
of like
500.
but imagine though, like the more money someone has, the more 20% looks like an insane figure. Like if they log in and they see like their absolute net worth is like down by 20%, that's pretty like frightening for a while. Even though it's going to go back up, it's just like it's like okay, I guess for like a few months I'll just have like vastly less
Singing to the
secure
choir,
feeling.
man.
Yeah. But I guess that's maybe the reason why people are kind of afraid of that. Like they would rather check into the bank and see the same number every time, even though they're losing, for inflation, versus like, you can make a lot of money if you just tolerate the wild swings of like 20% every so often. But yeah, people don't trust that if the number goes down, they just get like afraid and they take it out and they lose or something.
Yes, that's the psychology of the stock market right there.
Yeah.
The trick is to not watch it. The more attention you pay, it's almost like quantum physics. The more focus you
Right.
put on a molecule, the more you change it.
Mm.
Now, I'm not doing that any justice, but you understand how that works, right? When you try
The
to
analogy
determine
makes sense. Yeah. With the stock. Yeah.
its exact location, it's like you change it because you put all that energy to try to like look at it. You
Yeah.
actually move it. When you focus too much on money, you lose it. It's just
Yeah.
my tax-free savings account was properly spread out between some of the top 500 companies. I had Microsoft, I had Nvidia, and it was well spread. And I was up by like I was in Costa Rica and I was up like 10K. I was like, wow, that's a nice chunk of change to just. I was just fucking generous, treating people all this stuff. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then And I'm like, okay, this is good. I know what I was doing here. And now Bitcoin's on the rise and everything else on the rise. I'm like, okay, good thing I got into that shit. So I'm holding on to that. I'm like, fuck, I'm on this high right now, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell everything that I have my TFSA, all the smart diversified stuff, and I put it into Coinbase, all of it, knowing that Coinbase is gonna make a killing. It went
Mm.
up by quite a bit, and then I put in some stop losses because I was like, "Oh, yeah, there's no way it's dropping 20%." Yeah, stop losses were triggered. It went down by 20%.
Yeah.
Very briefly, though, for a couple weeks, but I was impatient. I paid too much attention. My game plan of sticking out with Coinbase was the right plan. I was correct with the future with that forecast, but I didn't buy back in. I wanted to make a quick buck. I wanted to make that money back that I lost as a result of that stop loss. I even said instead of riding the wave, and I tried to do some day trading in marathon, and I just kept losing and losing. And then, yeah, so kind of got fucked. I mean, I made a good chunk of change in the day trading because marathon was going up, 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 and then all of a sudden stopped going up. And it was the hype because the CEO hyped his
Oh
quarterly,
yeah.
which in my mind's fraud. I mean, you can't do that. You can't say that you have like these amazing uh that stockholders are
Yeah.
gonna receive this amazing news and then not meet your targets. That's fraud. Like that's straight up fraud. Like it's uh I should talk to a lawyer because seriously, he hyped it up. He created a hype train,
Uh,
and then just before, it's a lesson learned. Like very rarely will your stock go up after a quarterly report. People tend to pull out beforehand, like a good half a day beforehand. They'll pull out. So like
mm,
11 a.m. Enjoy the morning rise, and then once you are 11 a.m., 12 p.m., you're starting to get into the danger zone because people will start to pull out before that quarterly report. Now, once in a blue moon, like with Facebook, with their ads, they reported that they made like an absolute fucking killing and they went up by 20% or something. That's
mm,
that's a anomaly.
yeah.
Because even when there's a good return, like the quarterly report is like, oh yeah, everything's positive, stocks can still drop. So lesson learned that like watch out for the hype trains. That's exactly what that was. I knew it was that, but I didn't realize they were gonna pull out when they did. They pulled out like
Mm,
at 1 p.m.
right.
And I bought at the very fucking peak because of fear of missing out. I thought it was gonna keep going up.
Yeah. Yeah. Watching too closely, it's hard to get a perspective. It's hard to get outside your own head. Well, I gotta head out. I gotta head out soon. I have like a person come over for dinner.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the chat. I'll catch you
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. I'll see you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Enjoy dinner.